how do we hodl? We talk about hodling as a trading strategy, and it can work for Bitcoin. It can work for stock indexes. If you zoom out on the S&P, you can see why they say some of the best money-making accounts in Wall Street are the ones that come from people that don't trade because they're just in it, right? They're just riding that trend. When was, zoom out from from the 1930s. When was the best time to sell the S&P 500? Never, right? Because it just continued to trend up. So that's one of the reasons that people have a long-term holding account where they are just in the trade or in an investment and they just want that exposure because they know money printer go burr, can't trust central banks, can't trust third parties. I want to be in an asset that historically has gone up over time and beats monetary inflation. And that's why. That's why you want to hodl. Now, why do you want to hodl Bitcoin? Because it's consistently the best performing asset year over year. Now, there are times where it's the worst performing asset. And that's, again, why I want to get us out using those cycle top indicators that we've looked at. We want to be out of the market then because Bitcoin has that cycle of being the best performing asset year over year, then it's the worst performing asset. So if I can get us out at the time when it's the best performing asset, then we have an opportunity to compound those gains and buy that main dip on the year that it's the worst performing asset. So that's why someone would want to hodl. That's why you want to hold through sideways consolidation. Now, one way that we can follow what hodlers are doing is by watching what the whales are doing. What are the long-term holders doing in Bitcoin? Because you can essentially just follow their behavior. And by doing that, you can be a long-term holder. You can be a long-term hodler. Maybe you could be a whale. But essentially you can, what you want to do is you just want to understand what long-term holders are doing and then follow that behavior. And so what do long-term holders do? We see time and time again, long-term holders buy within the consolidation and sell within the exponential move up. So they're buying the sideways move. You can see this here, buying that move, and then they're selling when prices go crazy. And then what happens again? Prices come down, buyers, the long-term holders step in, they buy, and then prices get crazy and they sell into that. And so that's what we're seeing play out right now. We're seeing Bitcoin in and around the highs, and we're seeing long-term holders sell into that strength. Now that's normal. So from a long-term holder perspective, should you be selling into that strength? Well, if you're a long-term holder and you have a low cost basis, again, you want to take partial profits, sure. But what I want to really show you is that when long-term holders come back into the market, that essentially creates a nice floor. So you can follow those long-term holders. We're not seeing any signal of that yet, but you can follow those long-term holders so that they step back in. You're following them along, and then you become that holder that then sells into that strength when prices start to go vertical. Now, again, we have seen some long-term holders selling. A lot of the long-term holders that are selling are miners. But it also, we did see a big swath of long-term holders come in and around 100,000 because it's that psychological 100,000 level. So if I was holding Bitcoin since $3,000, we see people coming in and stepping in and buying these dips in and around, when it was down around 3,000, down around 16,000. Time and time again, we see the long-term holders step in. Okay, if I bought something at 3,000 and it's now 100,000, you know what? I'm probably going to take some profits on that. I'm probably going to take some profits on that. So I understand, okay, this is what long-term holders are doing. So that's how you do it. You buy that extreme weakness. You buy the weakness down here when Bitcoin is the worst performing asset. And then when are you selling? You're selling when it becomes the best performing asset. So that's the strategy. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that that's helpful. Now, when was the best time to sell Bitcoin? On a monthly basis here, never, roundabout never. Again, this is why people are hodling because of this long-term. This is a monthly chart, by the way. And on the monthly chart, Bitcoin looks pretty darn healthy to me. Now, does it look like it's in consolidation? Yep. Have we seen that before? Yep. looks normal. So yes, I understand from a day-to-day perspective, sometimes from a week-to-week perspective, things can change quickly in the crypto market. But if you stay zoomed out and you're like, okay, I'm a hodler, my price target is 120,000. My price target is 150,000. Then okay, zoom out, look at the monthly charts, and make that part of your weekly reminder of what you're doing. Okay, I'm hodling. I'm looking at the monthly chart, monthly trend still intact. Okay, guess I don't need to do anything. I don't need to take any action. You can also look at things like the Bitcoin rainbow chart. The Bitcoin rainbow chart, I think, well, number one, it's just a pretty looking chart. But what happens, and the way you can use this is you use the lower colors, the lower bands as your buy signal, and you're using the red colors and the orange colors as your sell signal. So basically, you are buying that weakness and then selling that strength. And so that's how you can sit through hodling. I'm fine sitting through hodling on Bitcoin because I bought Bitcoin when it was at 20,000. I bought some Bitcoin when it was at 16,000. So that's how I'm like chill with what Bitcoin's doing right now because I'm still good. You know what I mean? So that's how you can do it. You can leverage charts like this and say, okay, when it's in the dark colors, that's usually a good time to buy the Bitcoin. When it's in the red colors, that's usually a good time to sell the Bitcoin. So again, this in my opinion tells me, you know what, Bitcoin, if it does what it did before, even if it just gets up to the orangey yellow part, that's still 200,000. That's usually, that seems to me where it's probably a good place to sell and take some profits. So that's my target, right? I'm not saying, okay, I think Bitcoin's going to 1 million this cycle. Like, there's tons of people doing that on YouTube right now, by the way, and on Twitter. I mentioned the other day, someone put out a price target for Solana, and they're like, we think Solana could be between 6,000 and 10,000 per coin. And I'm like, bro, it can't even get above 150 right now. And you're telling people it's going to be 6,000? Like, there's a difference between what we're doing here, technical analysis with reason and using logic, and hopium. And I never want my webinars, my strategy sessions, or me to be hoping the prices go up, because hope is not a strategy, as Dan knows and has said many times. That's what I learned from him. Hope is not a strategy, but based on all the signals right now, again, we're not seeing a market top historically like we've seen before. So in my opinion, that means, you know what, probably still good time to maintain that HODL aspect and look for dip buying opportunities. You can also look at the investor tool here. This is from Check on Chain, and tops tend to happen when price is in and around this green line here. Where are we right now? We're right in the middle. Time and time again, when we get in and above that green line, we see a market top, market top, market top, market top, market top. Even here in 2020, 2021, market top. Now, again, the structure has changed. So maybe this is going to be more of a long, drawn-out cycle as opposed to kind of that vicious, violent banana zone cycle that people like Raoul Pal are predicting. He's predicting it's just going to run up to 250 and that's going to be that. Maybe that happens, and we have seen that happen historically in the past. But if the market structure has changed, like I showed you on the chart before, where it's more of this ebb and flow and more of this stair-stepping pattern, then what you want to do is stay in the trade, right? You want to just ride it up. And then when it does get up to that green line, like we've seen historically, okay, now I need to take action. But in my opinion, we're just not there yet. You also want to have those logical goals, right? Like I have a price target of 200,000 on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin can get in and around 200,000, look, I'm probably going to take some profits on that. But until it gets there, again, I'm kind of still in the trade. We can use tools like the Pi cycle top prediction indicator and say, okay, every time these two moving averages have crossed over, it's been a cycle top time and time again. And we're not there yet. Now, you can't see it here on this chart because I wanted to include the price, but this cycle top prediction tool is saying that, okay, it thinks, based on what price is doing last night when I took this screenshot, it thinks the top in Bitcoin is going to be January 14th, 2026, and it's going to be in and around 200,000. Okay, if that becomes true, am I going to look at prices now at 88,000, 87,000, wherever we are, and say, am I glad, am I glad I panic sold, or should I have been buying that, that dip? So again, you want to use multiple tools to confirm your goals, and that's going to keep you solid in your trade, because then you're going to see, you're going to see price action for what it is. And it's just irrational, right? Markets are irrational. People are irrational. People are emotional. And honestly, those emotions can end up working against you, especially if you're trying to hodl something that is extremely volatile, like Bitcoin or any of the derivatives. It's also important to understand how this thing trades, right? I've shown this chart many times. I made this again last night. Bitcoin pulls back a bunch, time and time again. Just in the past, from 2023, look at all the different pullbacks Bitcoin has had. It's had 20%, 18%, 23%, 22%, 32%, and now, pulling back last night, 21%. This is how this thing trades. So that, in my opinion, is why, unless you can stare at the screen all day, that's why you want to have a HODL mentality. Because I don't know about you, like, I want a life. I got 2 young kids and a family. I want to do stuff with them. I could absolutely trade if I was single by myself in a small apartment or something like that in the basement, whatever. Um, I could trade this thing, but I don't want that stress, because I just want to be in the trade. And if I think the trade is going to go up, then, and I know that this is how it trades, then okay, then there's no change in the thesis. And understanding how Bitcoin trades is really, it's not like I'm making this up. It's not like there isn't a precedent for this kind of move, right? Like if you look at Amazon, this is Amazon in the early years. 56% pullback, 64% pullback, 22%, 30%, 30%. This is Amazon, okay, in the early days. And so you can say, yeah, well, that's Amazon. Everyone knows now. Well, they didn't then. They didn't know in 2006 how this book website was going to make money, because it wasn't clear, right? And they don't know how Bitcoin's going to be. We don't know what Bitcoin's going to be in the next 5 to 10 years, right? That's why I think it's really valuable to listen to people like Michael Saylor, because he has a million ideas of like what these networks can be used for. And I don't get value out of the hopium of Michael Saylor and his podcasts or interviews. What I get is it helps me visualize, okay, what is this thing exactly? How are people going to use it in the future? And are more people going to use it in the future, or are less people going to use it in the future? Right? And that's the question around Amazon. Well, they're just a bookstore. That's it. Just a bookstore, no big deal. And then what happens? The company evolves. Okay, now they're selling DVDs. Now they're selling, now they're selling everything. You can buy a coffin on Amazon right now. So the market eventually understands what these big tech networks become as it goes. And those dips here on Amazon ended up being great buy opportunities. When was the right time to sell Amazon? Never. How do you know? Because Jeff Bezos is one of the richest people in the world. Here's Meta, same kind of thing. When Meta first came out, everyone was like, how is this website going to make money? Yeah, they have pictures of friends, but how are they going to make money? Stock drops 60%, then drops 30%, 20%, 24%, 30%, 18%, 15%. I didn't even get all the pullbacks. I just got the ones really quick as I was building this 2 minutes before the webinar began, because I was like, gosh, I really want to express to people that this is how it trades. It trades with volatility. New digital networks trade with volatility in their early days. And I like to think that this is really the beginning of Bitcoin here, because this is really when Wall Street started to get involved, right? When the ETFs started making it easy so anyone could buy Bitcoin. So I look at this as extremely similar to the early days of some of these other networks like Amazon, retail network, Meta, social network, VR network, NVIDIA. Their earnings are tonight, and now they're the most important company in the world. But in the early 2000s, Look at the volatility of Nvidia, guys. 85%. I mean, this is the 2008 financial crisis, right? Let's pretend, even if you don't include this one, look at the pullbacks here. This is no, this is how early tech startups trade because there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of unknowing, no one really knows what they're going to do. They kind of have a sense of the technology, but not really. And you can say the same thing for Bitcoin, right? Like only, I think 1% of the world's population owns Bitcoin. So that means there's 99% of the people that don't even know what it is. So expect that volatility because that's how some of these big tech leaders, big tech networks have traded in the past. So if you're holding as a trend follower, easy rules here for you guys. Stay in the trend until it closes below the 200-day moving average. You can use that 200-day moving average as your line in the sand. Above, you want to be long. Below, you want to be out. You want to buy those dips in strong uptrends. Oh, we're dipping down near the 50-day moving average or a key support level. Maybe it's the 100 EMA, whatever it might be. Okay, as long as we're above that 200-day, that's where I want to have my line in the sand. I just put the 200-day moving average here as a guide. You use whatever moving average you want to use, but I think it's good to have a framework. And so I really just want to give you that framework so you can be able to hodl if that's something you want to do. Again, 200-day moving average, buying dips close to the key moving averages, and then avoiding emotional selling. I've never made a good sale when I've been emotional about it, or where I've panicked out. And sometimes I see that come up in the Crypto Market Mentor Telegram chat of panic selling, and it just tells me you don't have a plan. So if you have a plan, like I had a plan to sell at a MicroStrategy. And I sold, my trading account. Okay, yep, MicroStrategy got hit. Okay, it's firming up. I'll get a little more. And so in my trading account, I have two small positions. I got a small position in MSTX, which is, down a lot. Glad I'm small. Same thing in MSTR. And so, I can do anything. I'm not emotional because I'm so small in those positions. But for my core position, there's a clear line in the sand where I was unemotional. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was emotional because I like the stock. Okay, I accepted that risk, right? And so for you to be unemotional, you have to fully accept that risk. And the only reason you're emotional is because you haven't fully accepted it. And if it ends up being too hard to accept, then it's too wide of a stop, it's too big of a position, and it's just something you shouldn't be involved in. So, this is a great guide here for just strict, okay, I'm going to follow an easy system. And as long as these things keep checking off, as long as we're above the 200-day, I want to be long. As long as dips come down in and around the 50-day, I want to be buying those. And then here's my line in the sand, etc. In order to do this successfully, you need to know your why. Why am I doing this? Why am I hodling exactly? And we know why, right? Like if I go back here, why am I hodling? Well, I'm hodling because Bitcoin's the best performing asset year over year. And as long as that's the case, I want to be long, right? Like that's why I started this HODL presentation with the why anyone would do it. So remind yourself, okay, why am I doing this? All right, I'm doing this because it's the best performing asset and it outperforms the S&P and it outperforms monetary inflation. Okay, then it's about entry. When am I going to enter this trade? Am I going to enter this trade for the first time now at 87,000, 88,000, whatever it is? Okay, well, we're still above the 200-day moving average, so that could work. But where are we in the cycle? What year are we in the cycle? Right now, we're in year 3 of what historically is a 4-year cycle. Now, does that cycle get broken? Et cetera. That is yet to be determined. We don't know. So all we can do is speculate. But it's important to understand the cycle generally. And then, of course, as I mentioned, you want to have that goal. What's your price target? Do I want to sell at Bitcoin 100,000? Do I want to sell Bitcoin 200,000? Or do I want to have that long-term 5 to 10 year time horizon and it can do this all day long and it doesn't matter. I'm just going to every week, every month, I'm going to put a little into this savings account and I'm going to use this as, a way to save. So that's, in my opinion, the HODL mindset that you have to have. Now, to do this, you have to be able to handle those swings. And it's not easy. It's not easy to see your account go up and down and up and down and up and down, but that's the strategy, right? So how do you handle the swings? In order to do that, you have to build and rebuild your conviction in the idea. right? And that's why we do some of the deep dive analysis here on Bitcoin and on digital assets generally, whether it's Solana or Ethereum or whatever. We're always looking at, okay, how many people are using the networks? How much money is transferring on the networks? Are the networks still valid? Are the networks growing? Are the networks dead? Remember, I did that webinar the other day of Solana. Is Solana dead? Prices are down a lot. There's a lot of drama with meme coins, but is that all it? Is it dead now? And we looked at the data, and okay, no, so yeah, meme coins are a big part of Solana. But, is that the goal of Solana? No, it's not trying to be a meme coin chain. It's trying to be the internet capital markets. And these meme coins are battle testing the ability for potentially stocks to be built on blockchain where people are doing millions and billions of dollars worth of transactions every minute, hour, or second. That's the way you got to look at it. They're battle testing this blockchain because if stocks are going to go on blockchain and if stocks are going to be tokenized, they want a blockchain that can be able to handle as much as the system is that we have now. So, that's how you build and rebuild your conviction. You do that deep research. You watch podcasts, right? Like if you're not feeling good about Bitcoin, go listen to Michael Saylor talk about Bitcoin for 20 minutes. And I swear, within 20 minutes of hearing him go off, you'll be pulling out your phone being like, oh God, I got to buy some right now. That's what it does to me. Every time I hear the guy talk, I'm like, oh geez, I gotta buy that dip, and because I get it. Okay, I see where this is going. Might not be right there right now, but I understand the potential. Read books like the Bitcoin Standard. The Bitcoin Standard, understanding just about the monetary aspects of Bitcoin, what makes it a good money, what makes it a better money than gold, how banks might be using Bitcoin in the future as collateral, as countries might be using Bitcoin as collateral. That's why Michael Saylor calls it digital capital. And so, if you're not convicted in your idea, watch the podcast. That's what I did. That helped me. Next thing you want to do is lower the cortisol in your body. So, we are stressed creatures, right? I feel stressed just like everybody else. And there's a bunch of different ways that you can lower that stress in your body. Exercise is a good one. Whether it's go for a walk. I saw someone today in the chat said that they went for a walk yesterday. Great. Lower caffeine, limit caffeine. I probably something I should do. I spend a lot of money at Starbucks. Get good sleep. I know it's hard to sleep when the markets are going crazy. When the markets are going up, it's hard to sleep. When the markets are going down, it's hard to sleep. But really focus on trying to get enough sleep. You can also consider taking health supplements. I'm not a doctor. Definitely want to give that disclaimer and say, talk to a doctor before doing anything rash. But I've used something like ashwagandha, which is a natural herb, and it helps lower stress levels in your body. You can also just laugh, watch a comedy special, or post a vibe check or something like that. You may not know, one of the reasons that I post vibe checks is to hopefully lower the cortisol in everyone's system. Hopefully it doesn't come across as insensitive or anything like that. I'm really just trying to make you smile, make you laugh, make you feel like you're part of the group, part of the community, because that's the kind of stuff that helps me, right? Like if I can laugh at my own stupidity, because as I said from the beginning, I'm not going to trade this market perfectly. I haven't traded this market perfectly, but I've made a boatload of money even though I'm not perfect. And you can make a boatload of money in this sector even if you're not perfect. So throughout that whole thing, we might as well laugh about, oh, wow, I really screwed that up. Isn't that funny? Let's make a meme about it. I like to have power showers. Now, this may sound crazy, but I like to have what I call a power shower. A power shower is a shower in the middle of the day. I had one yesterday. I saw Bitcoin down a bunch and I was like, I got to get away from this screen for a minute. And I love having showers. I do some of my best thinking in the shower. I like a hot shower in the middle of the day. I shower in the morning. Don't get me wrong. I still, I wake up at 5:30 and I have a shower right away. And that's my schedule. And then I'm, packing lunches for the kids, whatever. But I like to have a midday shower. That helps me. And I call it a power shower because sometimes it'll just help you stay refreshed. If I know I got to be at my computer screen, then I'm, and I'm just feeling stressed or just out of sync or whatever, I'll go upstairs, I'll have a power shower, and then I come back and I just feel better. Another thing you can do is check your attitude. Attitude, in my opinion, is the foundation for personal and professional success. Attitude really shapes our perception of reality. And we can look at things as problems when in fact they are opportunities. And so if you are noticing, okay, I'm not feeling good about myself or about the market, take an attitude check. What's my attitude towards the market today? Am I putting myself in a situation where I might become emotional because I have this long-term time horizon and prices are doing this right now? If that's the case, maybe I shouldn't be looking at the market right now. Maybe I'll wait till the stock market closes. I'll wait till all the headlines go, or I'll wait till the close and I'll watch Scott's video or whatever it might be. So really pay attention to what your attitude is and understand, okay, am I going to let fear paralyze me right now? And for me, I don't get me wrong, I feel fear just like everyone else, but some of my best dip buys in crypto have come when I've felt the most amount of fear. The Japan carry trade was, I saw Solana drop from wherever it was to 110. And I mean, I was like, yikes. But I understood, okay, there's nothing wrong fundamentally with Solana. This is happening because of this. That sucks. Solana's at 110. I'm going to buy. And I did. And, I was the most scared, but I felt the fear, but I took action anyways. And so, if you're looking at the market and you're starting to be scared, kind of turn that on its head a bit. Say, okay, yeah, I'm scared. Everyone's scared. But if I have that long-term time horizon and I have that dollar cost average HODL strategy, okay, well, I'm just going to take action anyways. Now, again, if you don't have a HODL strategy, then this is not for you. Okay, this is not, well, Scott says buy the dip no matter what because it's going to go up. I don't know that to be true. But these are the strategies that have helped me, and I just want to share them with you. So really, focus on your attitude. Understand that professionals have a great attitude no matter what happens. Even when I get stopped out of a stock and I've lost a bunch of money, I can easily internalize that. I can beat myself up, or I can say, you know what? I didn't make money, but I sure learned something. So, really focus on that attitude. I could probably teach a course on attitude and strategies to have that high level attitude. And I probably will. So, attitude is a big thing. And remember that your energy is a momentum builder, right? Your attitude is a momentum builder. If I come in at my desk and my energy's low every day and I'm typing up my emails and I'm saying hi to everyone in the chat and I'm kind of a bummer, that's going to come through. Right? That's going to come through the text. That's going to come through the video. It's going to come through the screen. That's not great for anyone. So I always try and have this high level of energy. I'm a high level energy guy anyway, so it makes it easy. I love coming down here in the mornings, flipping on some music, doing some research, watching some charts, and interacting with you guys. It puts me in a good mood. And so, put yourself in that situation where you have that positive attitude no matter what. And your energy is high because you're building that momentum into the day. Thank you for sitting through this, by the way, guys, because I do think that I hope that this is helpful because this really is the stuff that has helped me hodl through some of the swings. Because as I mentioned, look, I can read the charts, right? I see when support breaks down. I see when things don't look good. But that doesn't mean that I should change my long-term strategy because it's not that's then I'm style shifting, as Dan would say, right? I'm changing up what I should be doing with what I feel like I need to do. So that's where, again, emotion is coming in. So this stuff really helps me, and I truly believe that it will help you. Okay, another thing, again, I talk about time frame all the time. What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to make money in the next week, or are you trying to make money in the next 5 years? Are you trying to retire on time and comfortably, or are you trying to fund a purchase or a holiday that you're trying to take next summer? Know what your time frame is, know what your goal is, and adjust your trading strategy to match that. Another thing I found helpful is journaling. I know that Dan has his trade tracking, stock trading journal, which is helpful. What I do is I have daily reminders of gratitude. I can't be in a bad attitude if I am doing gratitude, because it's like those two worlds can't exist, right? I can't be in a bad mood if I'm intentionally thinking about all the great things that I have going on in my life, all the great people like you that I have in my life, and all of the things that I'm grateful for that are around me every day. And so daily reminders of gratitude and a reaffirmation of your goal. What is your goal? My goal is to retire on time and comfortably. My goal is to maintain my retirement at this level or higher. Write that down. And I'm serious. Get a journal. I got one right here. I think I've shown this one before. It's under some books because I was reading some books earlier. But I have a journal here, and I literally write down things that I'm grateful for. And I actually have a whole big piece here just on attitude. I don't know if you can read that there. My writing is bad, but that says attitude. And it's me just thinking about attitude. And it says, have a good attitude about the past. Use it as a school, not a club to beat yourself with. How do you feel about the future? Without a future well designed, we take hesitant steps. These are things that I write down in my free time as I'm thinking about them, because I'm someone who used to have a bad attitude. About I would let the market emotions impact me. And so for me, that was like, I had to go to school. I had to really shift my thinking. And so I've done a lot of work in this region. And so like I said, I feel like I could teach a course on this, and I might, because I think that it's so powerful for you to write down daily reminders of all the great things you have going on in your life and a reaffirmation of your goal. And it's right in front of you at the beginning of the day. And then that's going to help you build that momentum through the rest of the day. And then finally, sell into strength, baby. Sell into strength. You don't have to hold Bitcoin until it gets to $1 million. If you see a nice profit in your account, take some profit. That's going to help you, because then when prices come down like they have now, you're going to be like, gosh, that sucks, but I'm glad I sold some. I took some Solana profits in 2024. Not a lot, but I sold a couple hundred Solana tokens at around 230, something like that, I think. And it wasn't like, I wasn't like panicking out. I was just like, you know what? I got to realize some of this gain, because it's coming up to the end of the year. I got taxes to pay for. My wife wants to go on a vacation. I got bills to pay, etc. So I gotta take some of this profit. And so, yeah, I'm bummed that Solana's down, but I'm glad I took profit. And it allows me to then buy some of that dip with conviction, because I know, okay, if it pops up again, I know mentally I can take profit. I know physically I can just press the button and realize some of those gains. And so selling into strength is key. Whether you sell some at 100,000, 110,000, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you are getting paid for doing this. And that's going to allow you to sit through the ups and flows, the ups and downs, et cetera. It's going to allow you to do that, because that's fine. I got paid already. I don't need this money right now. I have that long-term goal, but I still have things I want to do, every day, every week, every month, whatever. Goals I want to accomplish, cars I want to buy, whatever it might be. And then you're selling into strength. So honestly, guys, this is how I've done it. This is what allows me to sit through the swings, to not be as emotional as I may have been in the past. When I first started trading this stuff, I was very emotional because of the volatility and stuff. But these are the things that I've done personally, and I definitely think that they can help you.